Clearly one of the most exciting football games I've ever been involved with, playing or coaching. Just the nature of the game, the build-up to it. Before, I thought I had seen some build-up to football games in my time coaching here, but nothing compares to the build-up this week of this football game. And our players were very excited to play. I think, as much as anything, we were probably too excited at the start of the game. We had some mistakes early in the game, particularly defensively, where we were out of coverage, we were out of rush lanes, and it was simply a matter of the kids were trying to do too much early in the game because of how excited they were. And, we got it settled down at halftime, talked to our defense about just playing their responsibility within the defense, and they did that in the second half, and I felt like our defense dominated, at least on the scoreboard in the second half. I haven't seen the stats yet, but I assume the stats were pretty good too. And then the play offensively, particularly of the quarterback, was outstanding today. He has now played 4.5 football games and has 1 turnover in 4.5 games, and that was on a Hail Mary at the end of the Towson game. So overall, this is clearly a signature win for our program. I can't in any way overstate how big this win is for, thank you, how big this win is for Old Dominion football. I felt like when we beat Massachusetts and won our first league game, and at the time they were ranked number 20 in the nation, that was a quality win for us, but I would call this win over James Madison a signature win for Old Dominion football, and I'll take questions.
The defensive effort in the second half that you referenced had to even be beyond what you had probably hoped you could do. I mean, it was complete.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. It's when you have a performance like that for a half of football, whether it's an offense, defense, whatever it is, but to have a half of football by our defense like that. In the first half, I felt like at 20-14, it might be a high-scoring game, but it really settled down into a field position game in the second half, and that was clearly based on how well our defense played. They were just dominant. I thought our front four was outstanding today. Ronnie Cameron, some of the plays he made on third down and fourth down are, I'll describe them as NFL caliber plays. He simply dominated in clutch moments today in the football game. And that second half, as you mentioned, Tom, that's as good a half of football as an Old Dominion team has played to this point in our brief history.
Questions?
Go ahead, Dave. Did you feel almost fortunate, given kind of the disparity in the way the first half went, that you guys were only down 1 score, it was only 20-14, and the game was still manageable?
I did feel very fortunate that we were in the game, and the biggest reason I say that is it was unexpected that their quarterback would be 11 for 12 for 186 yards in the first half. This is a team that was averaging 106 yards passing coming into this game, and we were so geared up to compete against them in the run game. You know, they were number 1 in the conference in rushing. They were number 8 in the nation in rushing offense, and we were geared up for that. And they did such a nice job keeping us off balance with play action pass in the first half. We had a number of missed assignments that left guys open, and we really cleaned that up, Dave, in the second half, and that was the difference.
What are you thinking as your quarterback's dropping back 30 yards and flinging that ball into the end zone that you end up scoring on? But before you score on it, what are you thinking while he's running backwards?
That I prefer he not be running backwards that far. But he's such a good decision maker. He does such a good job with the ball, and as you notice, even when he does that, retreats, if something doesn't come open, he throws it out of bounds. So I have absolutely no concerns when he ad-libs a little bit based on his brief history within our program of 4.5 games and 1 interception.
So you're calling that throwing to an open receiver?
Somebody on the sideline made a nice catch. I think didn't one of the guys down on the cannon make a catch on one of those?
Yeah, but the one to Pinker, are you considering that throwing to an open receiver?
Oh, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
The one that,
The touchdown?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in that situation, what ended up happening, guys, we had called for it was 4th and 1, and we had called for a naked out of the quarterback. What I mean by that, we had a design run going opposite. He was coming back on his own, and we were trying to bring the back underneath the blitzing linebacker. Taylor dropped the ball, and Nelson was right there. I was shocked he didn't tackle him. I thought he was down. I thought he was sacked, and at that point he tried to find something underneath. He was looking for the running back underneath to throw the first down, and he's just so incredibly poised. He realized at that point that his only option was, and his safest option, was to throw it in the end zone to Pinkard. But the play completely broke down when he dropped the ball. Otherwise, we were going to have an open back in the flat.
Bobby, can you explain why?
But we drew it up that way. All right, Rich, you've seen that in practice. I'm sorry?
Why a freshman quarterback like that has such poise and savvy?
That's how he played in high school. He played in the best conference of football in the Atlanta area, and he threw for 4,400 yards as a senior, which is an incredible number. That's how he's played his whole career. And you know, we thought, obviously, you never are sure someone's going to take what they did in high school and do it in college, but that's how he's played since we started practicing in August. And remember now, the majority of his reps were as a scout team quarterback. His first almost 2 months with us, he was a scout team quarterback playing against our first defense. So he's been chased by Ronnie Cameron and Eddie McClam for the better part of 8 weeks. So he's used to playing against a really good defense. And that's how he played when he was running our scout team. He was the same guy.
Given that pedigree, how did he get away from bigger programs?
Are you saying we're not a big program thing?
I mean,
I know what you mean. I'm just kidding. Yeah, he was he was a camp kid. He went to every camp his junior, senior year, all the ACC, SEC schools, and even Taylor would tell you he was hoping once he realized he wasn't going to play in the SEC or ACC because of his height. Once he realized that, he was hoping to get even a Conference USA type of an offer, and he didn't. And what most people considered him to be a product of the offense he was running, we liked how he was producing in that offense that he was running, because they were running our system in high school. And we look for some different things in quarterback, and I think you'd all agree, between DeMarco and Heineke, our quarterbacks aren't that big. We just look for guys who have poise and are good decision makers and can distribute the football. And that's what he did in high school. But I personally, I'm a little biased. I think he could play a lot of places.
You talked about Ronnie making some NFL caliber plays. I think it was a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 where he kind of came in and just blew the whole thing up there to get you the ball.
Yeah, I saw him. I'm not sure if it's the same play you're talking about. He tackled the guard and the running back. And it was as incredible a football play as I've seen, and it was just sheer will. One thing about Ronnie Cameron is he hadn't had an opportunity in his career at Hofstra to even be in consideration for postseason. And for 2 years since he's been here, he's been in my ear saying, I have to go to the playoffs. I have to have that opportunity, and I'll do whatever it takes to get that. And he really willed us, particularly in that second half. He was unbelievable at halftime, the way he pulled the defense up, and just the look on his face. You really didn't have to say a lot as a coach when he got done with his presentation, which wasn't yelling and screaming, it was just passion. Just incredible passion that he displayed, and I'm really proud of him, the way he played, and I'm really in awe of some of the things that he did today on the football field, because it was impressive.
Coach, how did things change when they lost those 3 offensive line starters, and is that something you noticed and attacked differently defensively?
We did, yeah. When they went, a couple of redshirt freshmen that went in, because the 2 kids that came out were very good players. We came with more pressure. We were real, and it was more of pass pressure. We were bringing them, we were challenging them in the second half to run the ball, particularly when those young kids were in. We were changing up personnel. We were in more of our 3-down package and what we call the wild package, which is we don't line up in a base look, everybody's moving, and really tried to make those young guys have to think and adjust. And it helped us that we got them in so many 3rd and longs, and they were not as committed to running the ball as they had been in the first half, and that certainly helped us.
About being held to field goals in the second half, frustration there, what was happening there in the red zone?
Yeah, when we got into the red zone, well, first of all, now you're going against a 12th defender because you have no vertical threat down the field, and they did a really nice job with their zone concepts down there. We were expecting a little bit more man pressure, and they played more zone concepts, and they just covered us. You know, we just did not get open.
Take a couple minutes. Anyone can coach?
What does this do for your playoff chances, Bobby?
I've always felt, Rich, in my time playing and coaching in this league, that, and particularly within the last 5 years, that 7 seems to be the number that clearly puts you in the conversation. So I feel very comfortable right now, and I said this to the players in the locker room after, we're clearly in the conversation at this point. Now, whether or not we can get enough people talking about us, it's going to happen this coming Saturday at Richmond, and how we perform in this game. But history has shown in this league, in the last 4 years, starting 4 years ago, there were 5 teams in the playoffs. 3 years ago, there were 5. And the last 2 years, there's been 4 teams from this league that have been in. So we definitely, with this win today against James Madison, put ourselves in the conversation.
Second half turnaround by the defense and shutting them out. I think they only had 3 or 4 first downs after halftime.
We knew we had to play well in the second half. We owed that to ourselves, the offense, and the fans. Well, personally, I think for what happened last home game we had. So we knew it was a defense like that. We couldn't have another game be on us and let down everybody. So I think everybody, we just knew we had to get a shutout. Ronnie talked to everybody, got all of us back on track and focused, and we just got it done.
Did you guys really talk about shutout?
The second half. I mean, we talked about it, but the main thing was to stop them and make them punt. Because the whole first half, they scored every possession they had, and we can't have that because that's few opportunities for our offense to have the ball. So we knew by getting stops, we can get the ball back in their hands, possibly put up more points.
How much did Barlow just eat you up with that under route throughout the day?
I mean, we seen it on film. They were more of a run team, so we didn't think we were going to see it that much. We were expecting like more them just trying to pound it on us, maybe 40, 50 rushing attempts, because that's how they've been this whole season. But it got annoying after a while, but I felt like at a certain point we got it under control.
Taylor, held to 3 field goals in the second half. What was happening when you were getting down into the end of the drive?
I mean, their coverage was really well. Their DNs contained really well, so I couldn't get outside the pocket. So, you know, nothing was really open. So I just, you know, threw it out of bounds. So it's 3 points. I don't want to give up 3 points to give a turnover. So I just threw it out of bounds 3 times, got 3 points, and at the end of the day, it worked out.
Where does that come from, that decision? Because a lot of young guys will try to jam it in somewhere they shouldn't. Where does that come from?
Coach Wickham, definitely, and Coach Wilder. They preach it at practice, you know. If we don't throw it away, we'll pull the next person in. So, you know, at the beginning of the season, beginning of camp, I didn't throw it away, got pulled, no reps, so I had to learn my lesson pretty well.
Well, you had 4th down at the end with like a minute. What was the discussion there, and then you ended up throwing an incomplete pass and giving them the ball in like 35?
But we felt that, you know, if we went for a field goal and didn't get it, it was just, you know, a missed opportunity of, you know, running out some more of the clock and maybe getting the first down and just killing the game. So we felt if we get a first down, it would just end the game. And, you know, my elbow went down and I sailed, but, you know, if I completed that, I felt it was going to be a first down.
So the conversation in the timeout was whether to either go for a field goal or actually go for the first down and not just try to get the 6 or 7.
Well, at first they were going for field goals. I was kind of on the sideline, and what are you doing? I was like, we're going for a field goal. No, we're going for it. I was like, oh, all right, well, and he goes, just get the completion. So I was like, all right, and I just threw it over his head.
Ronnie, Coach Wilder was talking about how you said to him so many times, I have to get to the playoffs. Can you just talk about that and where you think this victory puts you in that quest?
Well, you know, as a true freshman, when I was back in Hofstra, you know, I was around the senior class who went 6-0, and then in the last 5 games, you know, ended up falling to 1-4. We missed the playoffs by 1 game. That's when the playoff pool was still 16 teams, and you know, to see that hurt and see how much they put in, you know, the off season before, that always just, you know, as a young guy, I just always played for my seniors. just because I know how important it is to make it to, make it to the postseason at one point in time in your career or another, how important that is. And that's what I've always, since I've been here, just preach work as hard as you can to hopefully have an opportunity to make it there, because you don't know when you can get the opportunity to. And, not only 20 teams get that special opportunity. So, it meant the world to me. I always told Coach Wilder, when I came in, that was always my goal, to, make it to the playoffs, have a chance to win the championship, because why do we do what we do, 365 days a year, as far as the opportunity to win a championship. But, as of right now, we still have to get, we still have two tough games on schedule. We still have to, we still have Richmond, William, and Mary. So, we can't look over past that at all. We have to prepare this week, and get ready for Richmond. They're a tough team. And like I said, they have the same goals as making it to the playoffs. So, I'm not thinking we're not thinking that this is exactly what's going to happen. No matter what we do for the season, that's what's going to happen. We have to work for it. It's still day by day. We still have to work for it.
Taylor, can you describe what you see when you take off on some of those scrambles?
Well, my first thought is try to get out of my hands, because, I honestly don't like running the ball. I just want to get out of my hands, let the playmakers do whatever they do. So that's the first thing I do, is try to get it out of my hands. And if everyone's covered, I just tug it. And honestly, when I'm running, I just run when there's nobody. So, and there's something like nowhere to go, I just get down so I don't get hit. So,
What do you run the 40
time?
was that the same question?
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant minds think alike, I guess.
No, my fastest was like 4.65, but that's when I was really light, 160. So I haven't ran it in a year. So probably 4.7, 4.8 right now.
Taylor, we talked about this during the week, but with Thomas getting healthy, do you feel like this is your job now, or how do you approach that?
Well, we, as quarterbacks, approach it each week as it's our own job. Like, as in Thomas thinks it's his job, I think it's mine. That's how we go into it, just because like I go down or Thomas goes down, they has to go in, or even Tyler has to go in. We prepare each week, like we're going to start and play, just in that case. And, we've all been doing pretty well at that.
But that there's only enough reps in practice for one guy to really be the starter. Do you think the way you're playing, you just keep that job now, or?
Ultimately, it's going to be the coach's decision. But again, we're in the film room, we're all studying each other out, helping each other, and we're all preparing like we're all going to play.
When you fumbled on the sack in the fourth quarter, you remember you recovered it, did you have any words for him?
I remember looking front side, next thing you know, I got blindsided, and I felt the ball loose, and I was like, oh crap. And I look up, and Jeremy's on it, so I give him a huge hug and pat on the back, and went to the next play, but it was huge.
So you had two crap moments.
Yes.
Okay, one last question for our student athletes.
You do realize it was actually Ryan Jensen, not Jeremy.
Oh, it was Jensen?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Jeremy. I saw Jeremy laying on the ground, so I thought it was Jeremy, but go hug Jensen now.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.